Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope you will enjoy this ink review. If you are new here, I am also new to inks and fountain pens and everything, so you'll be learning along with me. This is a really fun chance to try different inks and things because you never know how they're going to look when you just see the image, the product image online. So hopefully this helps you with choosing your next favorite ink. So this one today is called Australian Opal Pink. It's by Robert Oster or Oster, depending on how you want to pronounce that. It's a very lovely shade of pink, and I have a confession to make about this. So there is an ink by the Birmingham Pen Company called Magnolia Mirage, and that pink is like the perfect pink to me. When I see it, the way it looks on paper, the way it looks on swatches and in reviews, and just everything about it is, if there was one pink I could have, it would be that one. And of course, they haven't had it in stock for ages and ages, so I'm very sad. So then I thought, well, maybe somebody surely has to have a lovely pink that is comparable to that somewhere. So this is an attempt at that, finding a good match for that. And I don't think it will, but it doesn't mean it won't be a lovely color. So, you know, we're gonna find out. I will still like this ink even if it doesn't perfectly match, because there are a lot of beautiful inks out there and I would like to try them and use them. And this pen, basically what I'm getting at, this ink will still get used. It's not like I'm gonna hate it because it doesn't match perfectly, but you know, you get your heart set on something and then you can't find it anywhere. And so then you try to find alternatives just so that you can stop, forget about it and stop thinking about that other ink. And I don't think that's going to happen, but we will try. This is our best effort. So anyway, I don't know anything about this ink at all, other than its name and what I saw as far as pictures online go. So let's see, we'll see what happens. So again, if you're new, I test out these inks on 3 different types of paper to see how they perform and how they behave, because not everybody's going to have the specific paper that's perfect for that ink or whatever. So the 3 that I test on are just basic cheap copy paper, HP 32 copy paper, which is like a better, higher quality version of copy paper, and some Tomo River paper, and I've cut these down to size so that we're not wasting. And I also do a swatch, which thankfully I have just remembered to do. So we'll get that done right now before I forget again. And somehow I have shifted everything over, so let me move it back to its proper position. There we go. All right. I don't think this has shimmers, so we'll be good there. But anyway, it still looks like a very lovely ink, a very lovely pink color. In the bottle, it almost looks like a dark pink or a purple, but we'll see how it looks. All right. Okay, so this is a really pretty, like, dusty rose color. So I do like this color a lot. It is not the same as that Magnolia Mirage, but that's okay, because this is still beautiful. It's not super bright. This is not like a Barbie pink or anything. It's not, it's a very, I guess you could say grown-up pink. Very mature and beautiful. It definitely has, like I said, like a dusty rose color to it. There's a bubble. Let me see if I can pop it. There it goes. That's better. And I'm going to try to get the ink to pool a little bit on one side so we can see the different properties. There we go. If there are any. So this might have shading or something. I don't know. Like I said, that's why we're doing this, is to test it out. I'll clean that off. All right. And then down here, we'll write the name. Look at this right here. And I think the reason it says Opal Pink and not Pink Opal, I think there's another one that's blue. And I might be wrong, but I think they do have another, like, opal or something, but it's not pink, it's something else. Okay. Okay. So there is that. And we will let that dry off to the side. Let me clean this off real fast. So if you know somebody who has a bottle of that Magnolia Mirage and they don't want it anymore, let me know, because I absolutely would love to have it. All right, this is how it looks so far. You can see it's wet and pooling down here on the side. I'm gonna just let this dry, and hopefully by the end of the video, we will be able to see that'll be dry and we'll be able to, you know, see how it looks. Okay, so the next swatch is gonna be on regular old copy paper. So if this is all you have at home, you know, you could still use these inks. We're just going to see how they look. It's going to, you can always, well, I shouldn't say always. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's going to say, well, there's one that you can't, but I'm pretty sure that every ink you can use on regular old copy paper. It's just not going to always show off all its pretty properties. So if it has shading or sheens or, you know, something that you like, it might not show up on the copy paper. That's the only downside. And that was something I learned the hard way. I had purchased some really lovely fountain pen ink. I was super excited to use it, and all I had was basically copy paper to write on, and I couldn't understand why the ink didn't look anything like it did in the pictures. And it took me a long time to realize that, oh, there's like the paper matters. The paper makes a huge difference. And yeah, so that's where I realize there might be other people like me wondering why their inks don't look like they're supposed to. And I was very surprised to find it's usually the paper. The pen can make a difference, but it's almost always the paper. The pen can, depending on, like for example, a shimmer ink, if you have a fine tip pen, then the shimmers might not come through or might not come through very well. You might not really see them. But if you're using like a glass dip pen or a broader nib pen, then you're going to really see the shimmers like you're supposed to. So that's one case where the pen will make a difference. Also, I found out after, I don't know, years and years and years of wondering why my pens don't look like they do in the fancy writing videos. What I was looking for, just didn't know what I was looking for, is something called the flex nib. And that's how you get the line variations, and that's where you get like the ink to show off all of its properties and on the correct paper and everything. So anyways, that's another side quest I have to go on later, is learning how to use a flex nib and finding some and so on and so on. So anyways, that's for way down the line when I actually learn what it is I'm doing. Anyway, don't worry about that right now. Opal pink. And this is on copy paper. Okay, so far this is a very beautiful pink. I do like this pink. I'm not mad at it at all. I think it's lovely. We're going to do some slow lines here. This is a beautiful pink if you want something, again, something more, maybe a little more mature. Maybe, you know, you don't want a bright Barbie pink. You just want something kind of soft. This is a very soft pink. And it seems to have, I'm not really good at this, but it almost seems to have like blue undertones of some kind, almost. I might be wrong about that, but you know, that's probably where it's getting that toned down look from. That's why it doesn't look like bright radiant pink, which is nice. Bright radiant pinks are pretty, but I wouldn't want all my pinks to be that color. You know, I do like having some variety. So, all right, that is the copy paper. And it looks like it's drying pretty quick, which is good. And it looks lovely. It's a very, like I said, a dusty, muted pink, which is beautiful. All right, so now we're gonna do the HP32 pink, or sorry, HP32 paper, and then we can compare them. Give me just a second here. All right, so it feels like there's 2 pages there. It just always messes me up. All these papers have different thicknesses, and so this one, because it's so much thicker than the others, I always feel like I'm picking up 2 papers when I'm not. And yeah, so also I confirm there are no shimmers in this. So if you want something that's maybe more work appropriate or just isn't shimmery because you don't want the shimmers for whatever reason, then this would be a good one for that because it doesn't have any shimmers in it. Okay, lay down some more scribbles here. This HP 32 paper is really, really nice. The way it pools, the ink pools on it is very pretty while you're writing with it, you know. And then as it dries, it tends to pick up some of the shading. So we'll see if this has any shading in it. And please excuse my terrible handwriting. I do plan on resolving that at some point, so maybe in the coming months and years you might see some improvement. I need to slow down. That is probably the main issue, is I'm impatient. I want to just write the thing, and then that makes my handwriting sloppy. All right. So there's that so far. I'll give that a couple of minutes to dry over here. And then we need the Tomo River paper. And Tomo River paper, if you've never used it before, it's incredibly thin. It feels like tracing paper almost, but it's definitely not. And excuse me, it holds the ink very, very well. As in, like, the ink kind of like sits on top of it as it dries, so it doesn't typically like bleed through to the other side. That's pretty unusual. You have to lay a lot of ink down for that to happen. All right, let's see. We'll start with our usual squiggles. And if there are any colors, other colors that you'd like to see me review, or different brands, or anything, any specific inks, definitely let me know. I would love to try out some inks that you're curious about. And you can also check my previous videos and see if I've already reviewed one that you're curious about. And any other requests, you know, fountain pen related, let me know. I know this is a glass pen and not fountain pen, but you know, I do use fountain pens. For these reviews, it's just easier to use a dip pen so that I don't have to clean out in between each color, and it doesn't waste as much ink. And this is Tomo River. All right, let's try some slow lines. And I do have some links for different inks and things down below. My Amazon links, the Tomo River paper should be on there. And I think I have a link for the HP 32 paper as well. But if you use my Amazon links, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help me out. So if you are interested in purchasing anything there, I would appreciate that as well. Let's see. The ink is starting to run out on the pen. Look how light that gets. That's kind of neat. Okay. It's a pretty pink color even when it's lighter. So there's that. I'm going to set this aside. So I would say this is similar to the Magnolia Mirage ink by Birmingham Pen Company, but it's not exactly the same at all. And however, this is still a beautiful ink. I'm still happy I have it, and I will definitely use it. But if, you know, looking for like a one-to-one comparison, this is not the same ink at all. But that is totally fine. I still think it's beautiful. And again, I have no complaints about it at all. But I still need to find that Magnolia Mirage. So yes, if you know somebody who has it and they want to part with it, definitely let them know I'm looking for it. So yeah, this is... these two are dry, and this is just a really soft, very pretty pink color. I really like this, and here it is on the Tomo River paper. And over here it still needs to dry, but there is blue. So remember before I was thinking there might be like some sort of blue undertone or something. There is. You can see a little bit of blue peeking out here. It's like a halo effect almost over here. Huh. And there is some shading on here, so you can see like the N here for the pink and the S. Let me see if I can get that closer. I don't even know if this is staying in focus, but there we go. Yeah, so you can see up here on the S how it's like lighter. You do have some like the N here in the pink, the V in River. So there is some shading. It's very like, I would say this is like very low shading compared to like some of the other inks that we've tried. And then there's that blue like halo effect here. It's like a sheen. But you can see the shading more in here. But when you're just writing with it, it's there, but it's subtle. But it's very pretty. And you don't get those effects with these other two. I think the writing experience on this HP32 is much better. It looks like there's a tiny bit of feathering here on the regular copy paper, which you don't get with the HP32. So this ink does behave better on higher quality papers, and you do get different effects depending on what you're doing. But as far as just writing, like just the writing part of this, it looks great on both papers, but there is a little bit more shading. I think to see the shading at all, you really need to use Tomo River paper, because you don't really, it's not as dramatic. I mean, even though this isn't dramatic, but by comparison, on the Tomo River paper is definitely better. So, yeah, that is why we do the different comparisons on the different papers. And then the swatch, let me see here. The swatch doesn't look like it's fully dry, believe it or not, but that's how it looks. And look, you see the blue, that blue edge to it. So there is that blue there, and then the writing down here. And again, you can definitely see the shading on this, where like over here where the color is darker, and then around where the ink is getting laid down thicker, there's almost like a blue outline, almost like just a hint. So this is a very pretty ink for sure. Let me see if I can get this to hurry up and dry, but what I need to do is set up a little fan or something to dry these swatches. Anyways, I don't think that's going to dry, but it doesn't feel, let's see. No, it does still feel damp slightly. Okay, I should stop messing with it so I don't wreck it. But yeah, this is a very, very pretty ink. Highly recommend this one if you want a lovely, like muted, dusty, pinky color. It's really pretty. And, oh yeah, we should get the light, just in case the light shows something that the camera's not picking up without it. We'll just check. So that's how they look under a light. Yeah, so yeah, this is a winner as far as pinks go. I really like this one. Very, very, in some ways it is similar to that Magnolia Mirage, but not quite what it doesn't replace it, let's just say that, but it is beautiful. So highly recommend this ink, and I will be back soon in a few days, hopefully, with another ink review. And again, if there's anything you'd like to see, please leave it in a comment down below. I would love to make your videos of your review requests. And I will see you all soon, and thank you for watching. You have a great day.